Hello and welcome to week 8 in psychology seminar, and we move into chapter 6, a little bit more on writing. So writing being a huge part of the field of psychology, the primary way in which we communicate and publish our results, and certainly with a lot of our classes being online, writing is critical. Now, the chapter 6 discussion is going to be looking at bias. Now, we have all kinds of reasons for bias. We have all kinds of mechanisms built within us for bias, the way we solve problems. We have availability heuristics. We have negativity bias and a whole. This is, in fact, a deep part of what Pinker is talking about in his book, is these biases that we have. So we're going to be having a discussion about that. What I'm asking you to think about is the scientific mind, when it's having important discussions, will often reference external data and external high-quality data in order to make statements. That's not an everyday process. It's certainly not every day that you see on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that, where people are just spouting off things or maybe even using faulty data. As scientists, we want to get into the mindset of first questioning our data and then getting into the habit, if I'm going to say something, then I better have something to back it up. And that's going to be an important quality of your presence in any social situation. In fact, it may make, and certainly for me, it makes some social situations a little difficult. If people are really showing poor cognitive decision making, it's sort of like, whoa, and lots of those have been going on in the last few years of people making decisions and whatnot based on faulty data, or just, I thought of it, therefore it must be true sort of mentality, or I read it on the internet, it must be true. So it's important for us to adapt to that particular way of thinking. And so I'm asking you, to cite some of the examples of that, maybe some opportunities you've had to say, hey, wait a minute, where's the data? You're saying this, a very powerful statement. What proof do you have of that? The quiz is a scavenger hunt. Now, that scavenger hunt is actually for you to look into the APA style guide that is required for this course. Now, if you haven't got it, you're going to need to get it, because you're going to need to get it to finish this quiz. You have to find things in that manual, and so you can get yourself really acquainted with that book. When you're doing APA style writing, you want to reference that book until it becomes intuitive. Now, I can write pretty well APA style automatically without referencing the book, but I still reference it all the time. I reference that one. It's an easy book to use. Find what you're looking for about how to cite something, how to create a table, how to format your text and all that stuff. You have to get your head wrapped around that, because you're going to be using it over and over. Meanwhile, we also have the special assignment going on. So we have the special assignment part 2. Now let's go to the course book on that. Here we have part 2, and that is when Pinker talks about progress and the fear of progress. Now this one entails a few chapters. So we have chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so you have progress phobia, and then he expands on those in terms of life, health, sustenance, and wealth. Also really brings to the table this idea that the world is going in a positive direction. Bumps, really bad, scary bumps going on right now with, Ukraine and Russia, with crazy politics. But nonetheless, cooler heads hopefully will prevail, and the patterns that Pinker identifies in life, health, sustenance, and wealth around the world are just unrefutable. And so we have to, at least here we're learning about them, and we have to vote we have to make sure we vote calm, considerate individuals and make our own decisions based on knowledge, science, rational thinking, and, keep the world going in a positive direction. Now, this particular part is divided into two sections. So this first week, we're only going to be focusing on the part 2 discussion A. Pinker examines a number of players in the world that benefit from the perception that progress is a problem rather than a solution. Speculate and discuss who will be the winners in a world that thinks it's all going to hell. So when the message goes out in the media or from the pulpit or from the pundit or from your friend down the road that the world is all going to hell, when in fact Pinker has just provided clear evidence that it's not, why? Who's benefiting? Who would benefit from us thinking everything is going bad? Now, there's an incredible long history of this in civilization, of leaders convincing their populations that things are a lot worse than they are. And that itself is a dangerous proposition with often life-ending results. And so it's important for us to get our head wrapped around this idea that there are bad players and there are certainly individuals that benefit. And let's have a discussion about that. Now, that's the course, that's the special assignment. The other thing that's going on this week is it's midterm grades time. Now, midterm grades are going to be based on the work that you've accomplished up until now. And they're simply a way for me as an instructor to communicate to you how you are doing so far. Once we pass that, what's going to happen is if you're not getting a passing level performance, you're going to get a warning. And that should entice you to reach out to me, look in the mirror, develop a plan, buckle down, get the work done. Let's work together to make sure that you're successful. But this largely is left in your hands. If you need some assistance, of course, reach out to me. So that's what's going on this week. We have the writing, we're looking at bias, the APA manual, scavenger hunt, and then we're having this discussion about who's winning when large portions of the populations can be led to believe that things are going bad when in fact the evidence tells us otherwise. So, that to me sounds like a great discussion, and I will see you in that. Have a great week.